Hi, I'm Winston Chow. I'm an
Associate Professor here at Singapore Management University School of Social Sciences and Office of Core Curriculum.
and apparently I'm a climate change expert. I look at the impacts to cities. I look at how we can adapt, how people living in cities can adapt to the heightened risks from climate change. I also look at coastal cities as well, like Singapore, which are particularly exposed to sea level rise, to severe storms. Two actions by humanity. One is emitting greenhouse gases, predominantly carbon dioxide and methane, and secondly by extensive land use, land cover change, most evidently through deforestation of tropical rainforests. When climate changed in the past, it took place over centuries, it took place over thousands of years. Right now, what we're seeing is different. Now, the change is occurring at very shorter timescales, in decades and in half a century. And we know the cause is, as I said, is from human activities. I would argue yes, it's been hotter. The past decade is the hottest on record. The past few years in Singapore have been the hottest on record, so it's definitely become more uncomfortable. We've also been experiencing greater variations in rainfall in terms of either too much or too little. The warmest temperatures in Singapore will continue to rise unabated. Greater likelihood of more dry spells or droughts that will likely affect our water supply. The short answer is that we have to act now. There isn't much time left. Action has to be taken to reduce carbon emissions very quickly and very extensively around the world. Singapore has done quite a lot for adaptation. Having more shade structures or having much more green sort of building design to take advantage of natural cooling rather than using air conditioning. You can also invest in infrastructure that reduces the risk of floods. That's what the PUB has done over the past 30 to 40 years. And also to deal with sea level rise, the government has announced that they are going to spend at least $100 billion on either polders or sea walls to reduce the impact of sea level rise on the coastal areas, or use more nature-based solutions like mangrove. Singapore's geographical circumstances sort of prevents us from the most efficient way of mitigating climate change, which is to get ourselves off fossil fuels to generate electricity or to generate power. Ideally, we would have solar panels everywhere. It's a renewable resource. Ideally, we'll have dams everywhere for hydroelectric power, but we don't have that capacity to do so. And what Singapore has tried to do is to use the cleanest fossil fuel, natural gas, instead of using coal or oil. We only contribute less than 0.2% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Compared to China, compared to India, compared to Russia and the US, we are literally a little red dot. What we can do, however, is lead the way in showcasing ways to adapt to climate change. So, alamak, I wanted to say something else, but then I realized it's getting way too dark. So you've heard of the 3 Rs, reduce, reuse and recycle, and there's been a lot of focus on the third R, recycle as much as possible. But the most important one's the first one, reduce. You can be car light or car free. You can have meat-free Mondays, for instance, or just be aware that eating red meat is quite destructive in terms of carbon emissions. If you consider this to be easy changes in your own lifestyle, go for it.